something else. Hello. We are on the last live show. And I feel like I've gone from being like active and present and having like pretty covers and pretty editions to being like flopped on my sofa. Because I do have pretty editions of these. I did get the bookish box pretty set, but I was like, I don't have the desk to sit them on. And if I put them like on the little bit of the corner that you can see, then you wouldn't see me. I mean, they are prettier than me, admittedly, because Valek. But yeah, I didn't pick them up. I can get up later and show you. But between sickness and being crazy busy and work and all sorts of wonderful things in the last few months, we did not manage to do individual live shows. However, we knew that it was probably only going to be a wee din. Oh, and followed in by a Rolo. Okay. See now that Eden.
Like
you come in? Now that she walks around the house like she owns it, you see her more.
Come on then.
Come over, Come on then.
She yelling.
Rolo's over there, yeah.
Because all I can see is her mouth moving, but I can't hear any sound.
No, I'm gonna go chase brother. Oh no, maybe. God only knows. Anyway, oh look, Eden called forth a Vicky.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
All I could see was her little mouth going.
Yeah, she's sitting on the back of the sofa like where Bobby normally sits.
Staring at him.
Yeah. I don't know why she's decided now is the time to come and join us, but we've been letting them into the back garden. This is totally off topic. So I think she's realised that she can explore more of the house because she has to go out the back door. But yeah, we are going to be doing an overview of the study of poisons, the study of magic, and the study of fire, which can be linked and read in between, right at the start of the reading or at the end if you're reading chronologically like we just did. But ideally, although a lot of this isn't really a spoiler because you can start here technically, like you get the main points where everybody interacts. Don't spoil yourself if you haven't already read them. We appreciate you being here, but don't spoil yourself if you don't mind spoilers. I'm hoping people have gone if there is people, because there is people. I don't know who's here, but there's people viewing. And I don't have it open, so it's not me. There we go. We're down to one. It was like 4, 5.
Becky.
I was like, I don't want to have people spoiling it. Oh my god, guys, she is leaning fully on my bingo board, which is sitting on the sofa. I could just have visions of her falling on the sofa. Because she's actually moving the bingo board. Oh my god. For your viewing pleasure. So I don't know what the best way to do this discussion is. Will we start with ratings of all 3 books and then just discuss things that we want to? Because honestly, with having read them, like I did read them mostly in the right time frame for when we would have usually have done a live show, which means it's been about 7 weeks since I read The Study of Poison.
Yeah, that's basically what happened. We got them read. We thingied the live show. Something happened. Everything went to hell.
And then we went, okay, right. Because the first one, I was doing the house up. And I think I was sick. Or you were,
My
no,
gran
you
inconveniently
had the
died.
flare and I was doing the house. And then,
My gran decided to inconveniently die.
yes. And then when we got to book 2, I was sick and also I had budgets and all sorts at work and I was like, I can't do this. And we were like, let's just reschedule. And then we were like, actually, we can't find a date. Let's just do one for all 3 and fuck it.
And I
So
just look at
yeah, you were really ill. I was ill. I was decorating. You were flaring. I was crazy at work. You were crazy at work. It's been a few months. It's been a time. Vicky's been sick for most of it. Like, we are a healthy group of best friends.
I think great.
So, if you can remember, cast your mind back. What did you rate all 3 books?
I don't remember, but I'm sure I have it on a spreadsheet somewhere. I do remember, so I think thinking back on it, Study of Poisons is probably a 3.5. Uh, Study of Magic 4, and then Fire 4.5. It was definitely my favorite. I just think for some reason Study of Poisons there was a lot of jumping around and it was just a bit discombobulated, and then it kind of hit the groove in Study of Magic.
I feel like Study of Poison's downfall was almost that they were together quite a lot.
Yeah.
In the original book. So although we didn't necessarily know how Valek got his information and we didn't know like as much about the court, and I loved seeing that Ari and Janko hadn't actually known him for that long. Like, I loved getting all of that background stuff, but in reality, there was actually quite a lot of that book that was very close to the first one.
Yeah, I think right. In reality, my biggest problem with the Study of Poisons is the insta love that happened with
Yeah,
Valak. Like
I
he was
knew
just
you were
like,
going
I'm
to
in love
say
with
that.
you. I am somebody who will read stuff and be like, yes, but like there has to be like, even if she just added in like something, there was a moment like where their eyes met, or where like, because I know it's not necessarily a fated mate scenario, but like there seems to be some kind of fated mates,
Yeah, no,
soulmate
I think it
situation.
genuinely is fated mates because they say each other they're heartmates. Like, I think that
Yeah,
is her equivalent of it. Yeah,
but like there's no like Valak like the type of person that Valak is. It doesn't seem like the kind that would just be like, well, I guess I'm in love now. Like the amount of stuff he must have done when he was an assassin, and the amount of people he must have had to like be around and work and dupe and all that sort of nonsense, and the damaged background that he comes from that we've discovered in uh Study Chronicles, like where his whole family were basically slaughtered in front of him, and this guy's just like looks at this 19-year-old and goes, yeah, sure, without like there being a moment. I needed like a moment where it was like the fated mates like trigger point
yeah,
almost.
like a glittering. Ah!
Yeah. And then he went straight into nanny mode, and that pissed me off. Suddenly it was like everything he was doing, he was no longer his own person. Everything he was doing was to protect Elena. And then but then in Magic and Fire, he was doing his own thing while also trying to protect Elena. Like there were some points where he's
While
like, I had to
also
make a choice.
recognizing, take a fucking step back. Like, she is fine. She can deal with this.
Yeah.
Do your own shit so that like the commander doesn't get taken over, or so that they don't take over. Like, come on. Yeah, I
I would
felt.
expect more in the first one for him to try and push her away because he wasn't comfortable with it because feelings and closed off man. And then the second one, him be a bit more nanny. And then the third one, him be like, you know what, you can handle yourself. Like
Yeah,
that's how I would expect it to go. And it didn't really. It just, the first one just got a wee bit. Yeah.
I think, as I say, I think because they're together quite a lot, it's funny because Yelena definitely has this slower realization with Valek, like when you read it from her POV. And it's
It's like
definitely like,
POV is like he's staring at me because he doesn't trust me. He's thinking about how to kill me. His POV is like I forgot what I was going to say because she's still pretty. Like
yeah, it's like a golden retriever hidden in a Rottweiler's body or something. Like, it's so funny. But yeah, I do
only in
genuinely
that book.
think that because she hadn't written any of the Chronicle books in a while, I think she'd, and you all know I love Maria. Like, I love her. I call her Mama Bear. But I think she'd kind of forgotten. And also, I don't think with not having focused on Valek's POV before, and she even said, like, Past Maria kind of fucked her over a bit because in the first set of books, he instantly knew stuff. And she was like, well, how? How does he know this? So, like, she had to try and figure out all of this background shit.
I
Like,
love that. It's like, how does he know that? He's Valak. He knows stuff. Like, I love that whole thing.
I know, like, I do genuinely love this trilogy, but I do agree that Magic and Fire, for me personally, were better than Poisons, just
Yeah.
because I feel like by the time she got into the latter half of this arc, or even like the quarter way, third way kind of thing, she kind of found his rhythm, but
Yeah.
also with them being separate, she had the ability to actually figure out, like, what does he do, how does his core work, who has he got where, like, how do they interact. Like, I loved seeing all of the stuff with the core, and like also knowing that Ari was working in the healing in the cap, like in the Citadel, like, and the fact that he didn't want to leave them, like he was like, oh no, but there's been a war and I'm happy to stay here while we wait for Yelena because they need hands. They need hands, like, in the Citadel, and that's okay. I'll just stay here. Like, the big man is a softie.
Do you know what's so funny? My my favorite parts of the original trilogy, from Yelena's point of view, were when she was with Valak. I remember clearly saying this. That
Yeah.
those are my favorite parts. My favorite parts in this were when they were not together.
I
Just I
think it's
think
because,
jumping back from like the newest ones to like now, like I didn't like it at the time, but it's slightly different now seeing Yelena and how naive she is.
yeah.
Like jumping back to that after seeing her like right at the end, obviously, when she's come through this whole journey, jumping back because Valak doesn't necessarily really change in that sense.
No, he just realizes that he maybe doesn't solely want to be an assassin and in charge of shit. Like,
Yeah, he's like ending a chapter and starting a new one. She's starting a whole new fucking life.
just
I
like
love the core. I want more
Kenda.
Kenda, and the like what happened to the boys that he took on, and like
Like,
I
I
love the core.
still love Porter and the fact that the dog, like the kennel master, was like trying to sneak all of these magical kids under Valek's nose, thinking he was getting away with it. Like, don't get me wrong. Obviously, he
Fun in
got
it.
like in amongst Star, and Star fucked him over, and this, that, and the next thing. And we know what happened to his magicians was shit for like the the Karakawa rituals and stuff. But in general, the fact that like Valak willingly helped them to make sure they like got across the border. Like, I hate it was one of the things that always like worried me in the first set when, yes, okay, he's got, this assassin personality and he very much plays on it. But I remember in the first trilogy they're having that argument about I think she says something like, oh yeah, I bet you killed them because you're the assassin or something, like right before they're trying to like get everybody back and that, and they're right at the edge of the
Third one, yeah, that really
yeah.
hurt my feelings. Like from Valak's point of view, that really hurt my feelings. I was really pissed at Yelena.
Right? Like, it hurt. It was bad enough in the first book, but having that with his opinion, like his thoughts and his ability, and knowing that he'd been
This is
there
what I
trying to
mean.
help.
This is what I mean about Helena. She's so fucking naive. She's like, she sees things in black and white, and she doesn't bother to look between, like, at the shades of grey. Which is funny because Ambrose is like that. Ambrose very much sees things in black and white. But the thing is, Ambrose refuses to look at the grey.
Yeah.
He's just like, no. Whereas Valek is the grey.
Yeah. I just love it because from her point of view, without his information and without knowing what he was doing and how he was sneaking around and planning, like in the first set of books, it made so much sense. Because you didn't know as much about Valek. You didn't know how much he was saving. You didn't know what he was doing in the background.
True,
And
but as a partner, as somebody who is like as your partner, you should be able to have a conversation with them, not just accuse them of something.
yeah, especially
But
when you
again,
know
she's
that
young.
he's already not as mean as he portrays. Like,
Yeah, like part of my brain would be going, if he's like this, then maybe there's actually. I always found it really funny where like he would turn up and people wouldn't know who he is, and he's like, maybe I should work on my reputation. Or like he would turn up and his reputation, like everybody would be terrified, and he's like, maybe I don't need to work on my reputation. Maybe actually I need to make it better. We'll figure it out later. It's fine.
I just love it. I do, and I also love when he like turns up and he like says somebody else's name, or he says that he's himself, and they're like, "Yeah, and I'm the commander, sure." And he's like,
I was
"No,
like,
really." And it's like, "Yeah, sure." And it's like, "No, but I am." And it's like, and it's like Janko made a comment about something like, "Is that all our uniforms are? Do we not get like spiffy badges or something?" And he was like, "Yeah, well done, way to draw a mark on your back." And I'm like, "Yeah, but this is also why you can't then get pissy at your core for not knowing who you are." Like, he literally said why.
yeah. It's
Oh,
why, and it's funny because there are so many moments like that that are quite hurtful where people talk about him in a way that he's not, and I like that it's kind of showing how he's not actually as hard as he seems. Like he's not got that hard shell that he seems to have. But that there was the bit at the bit closer to the end in Fire where he goes to the councillor's house, and it's the husband that answers it, and the wife's like, "Oh, that's Valak, let him in."
yeah, and he's like, "Oh my god, what are you doing here?" And she's like, "No, no, he saved me, man. He's okay. He's allowed." And you go,
And
"Yeah."
immediately it's just like, we love you. Like you're now part of the family.
I love
This is
that
why I
he's like,
love
"Thank you, thank you, thank you," like shaking hands and everything's like fine. I'm just like, oh,
after
my
them being like
heart.
after watching the council meetings where they're all like the scourge of City, like it's like, oh yeah, the scourge of City has saved everybody's lives. You're welcome, by the way.
Yeah, I just love how much of those fucking council meetings he sat in the rafters. I love that the first thing he did when he went in was check the rafters. Like he specified there was a when I think he was going to come back to speak to Ambrose, or like he was in when Signe was there, and he'd walked in, and before telling her anything, he checked the rafters and he made a comment about it because he was like, "Yeah, I use it. Do they?"
What's funny, like, I'm not even kidding. I fully expected at one point for him to like whip out some knitting needles or a crochet hook or something and just like
Fill the time.
while he was
Yeah.
he's like just like drops a needle or something and everybody's like and he's sitting there with a blanket like
Like a pink,
hi.
like flowery one or something.
He totally seemed him and Ari seem like the kinds that would like knit or crochet.
Janko does not have enough energy to sit still and do that.
Patience. He doesn't have the patience for it.
No.
I love Janko. Janko though, he is a big softie as well. When he was homeless,
I know. I didn't realize that. I don't think that's in the first one either. And the fact that
no,
he
it's
was
not.
homeless and that he like came to learn like love everyone and was like, I feel really bad that I'm here eating meals and they're all sitting out there and that I can't get them to leave because they don't trust me and they won't go to like they won't leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um
Look, he's like, I invited them to Ixia and told them like to use my name, and they were just like, yeah, sure.
I loved it so much. I love it.
See you, crazy homeless guy.
I love it. What did you? I think I'm focusing on Fire because it's the one that I remember the most. So apologies if Vicky, if you remember anything from any of the other books, let us know. What did you think? Because obviously in the other trilogy, we just find out that the three of them take on Valek. We don't really learn much about the actual fight. Just that when she comes back, he's got 3 advisors, and we obviously see Ari and Janko out and about, but we don't really see much of Marin other than at the castle. And in this one, we learn that she actually doesn't want to be out and about. She asked to stay in the castle with the commander and to learn like politics and be more that at home as and when you need me. Was I loved the way she phrased it. She's like, I really don't want this. I just wanted to, beat you.
I just wanted any job.
I just wanted, to be able to say I did it. But the fact that you could see that the 3 of them had like planned it and that they had phases, and they knew to like wear him down and hit his knuckles and like where to get him. And the fact that the commander was there at the end watching, perfection.
And the thing is, like, it's funny because Valek, as his reputation stands to the general public, should have been pissed. Like, you would expect him to be angry about it and like raging and maybe like break something in his room or whatever. But realistically, he was like, well done. They're damn smart.
It took 3 of them. But I mean, it wasn't written anywhere. But I love that the commander was like, maybe write down your official and your unofficial rules next time.
Like, maybe just tighten that up a little bit. He's like,
yes. And I love that it became.
Do you know who I loved?
Them.
Do you know who I loved? My favourite character, I think. Who? In this trilogy, who we've never seen before, brand new character. I absolutely love his name. I cannot remember.
The housekeeper.
Yeah.
So do you know why we've never seen him before? Because Maria told me when she was here in September, she was finishing up Fire. Like she was trying to write. I'm sure she was writing Fire when she got here. No, she was finalizing Magic, and then she was like starting to work on Fire for timelines. And she realized that they got rid of Marg and that nobody had been replaced. And she was like, for fuck's sake, because Marg left with Yelena. Like Yelena and Marg, obviously, they had the big fallout. And then she left. She was like, what the fuck? Like, I'm still with Valek. Who's here? What is it? Like, who's this person? If she's not there, now I need to figure this out. And she was like, he's never in the 2 books or any of the following books did Past Maria think to fill in this fucking gap. And I was in hysterics because she was saying how much of an issue it had been for her. Bless her. But he's amazing.
Emily Rath did that. Where there's like Emily Rath's 3rd book goes back and goes through the timeline of the first one again from a different point of view. And she was like, I hate myself. Why did I do this? There's so many plot holes. So I think it's just an author thing. You don't think about it because you don't have to explain it at that time. Yeah, but he was my favourite. I love it. It was like, don't move the stacks of books. They're there for a reason. He's like, okay. So he alphabetizes them instead. And he's like,
put them in genres.
Touché.
And then he was, I just loved it. I think one of my favourite bits was, the books, because we all love books. Like, we all know that stacks on books and they're all higgledy-piggledy and he's always had them. But I think one of my favourite things was when he woke up to the clunk, clunk, clunk and he'd moved the rocks to try and tidy and then couldn't remember where the rocks were. So he was sorting them by rock size so that he still had piles for Valek, but he knew where. I was like, oh my God, you're so cute. And then I love
like,
just go out.
Valek's like annoyed about it. And then he's like, actually, this is actually kind of helpful.
And I love that he's like, the books are there so that they'll topple out and like they'll be in the way. And he's like, why don't you just put some of your rocks underneath the window? And he's like, oh, that's a good point. And I love that he's the one who knew about the snake and like kept like I don't like spiders. Like I am not a spider fan. In fact, I didn't even go into my bathroom this morning because there was a spider in the sink, and I was like, that fucker will jump on me if I turn on the tap. It will not go down the sink. I am not attacking that. Richie started it for me. But like the fact that they were both like keeping this spider alive, and then like she had babies, and then they were like, we'll rehome them outside. It's fine. Like we will like, I don't mind if they get moved out. They just can't stay. She has full on settled. Oh, she's just looked up because I've moved. Typical.
When does
I've
he come
never
into
seen
it?
her
Does he come into it
singing.
in the second book or the third book?
What was that, sorry?
The housekeeper. When does he come into it?
This one. Book 3.
Fire. Oh, okay. He was just so like a lot like Valek was trying to be all suspicious and like, how can I trust him? And it's like, boy just has OCD. Leave him alone.
I know. I love that at the end he was like, right, I don't need anything else organized. Go talk to Kenda. Kenda loves an organization chart. And he's like, okay.
But the thing is, as well, if you think about it, it was really like the way. So obviously with the rocks, he realized actually it's easier for me to find what rocks I need if they're organized. And then with the books, it's easier for him to find what he needs if it's alphabetized or by a certain way. And he started to learn that the organ and the outfits, his costumes and stuff like that,
Yeah.
his uniforms. It was like, yeah, no, that actually helps to have them like that. And he started realizing how helpful it could be. And then I'm sure there was something about when he goes to the station and he's looking through all the paperwork, there's something that the housekeeper has either done or does that then makes him connect the dots with the paperwork. Which is why I think he sends him to Kenda, one, for payback, and two, because him rearranging stuff. Like if you look at something, if you're trying to see patterns, but you're looking at it the same way every single time, you're gonna get like you know how we move our bookshelves around, and it's the
Yeah.
same books, but for some reason, after you move them around, it just like changes the feel of the whole thing,
Yeah.
and you
I
just see
love
it in a new light. So if he goes and arranges all of Kenda's files and stuff, she will probably start picking up on things that she's not picked up on.
Yeah, I bet you he would have a field day. What was it? The FIIK room. Fuck if I know. I loved that. Honestly, I started laughing. When he was like the FIIK room? Yeah, the fuck if I know. It's just where none of the we don't know. And we leave them and then somebody comes along and has a look and then hopefully some stuff's there. I was like,
Yeah,
oh my god, I love that so much. Because you're right.
well,
You
I need
can
one of those.
oh, honestly. I
But we
loved
see
it
that
whenever
in
he
the
would look
later
at the map
books as
and then
well.
when they hadn't figured something out, it was like he'd put it in and it was like moving. And then they figured out like the house and the this and the that. And I'm like, this is so good. But it's stuff you didn't get from Yelena's point of view. And don't get me wrong, Yelena's like the original 9 were a happy little tied up with a bow for me. Not the fondest of the study of poisons, but the other 2 I think added a lot.
There was
Even the
even if you in one of the previous 9, I can't remember which one, but there's a point of where they're trying to figure something out, and he basically gets everybody, like he gets Marin and Ari and Django, and like pulls other people in round the table, and is like, "Here's the stuff. You'll need to look at this because I can't anymore." And I think that's like a nod to that he's learned
yeah,
that like
100%.
this as well. Like you see Valek learning that he needs to allow himself to rely on other people.
Yeah, I think from the start of the study of poisons, where really the only person he spoke to was the commander. Like they had their nightly meetings and stuff. But by the end of it, the 2 of them, oh my God, can we just point out the fact that there was a conversation around the fact that, oh, Tasha literally commented it. I wonder
I
if I
kept trying to find scenes at like I kept signs even. I kept trying to find signs of like Owen Moon's influence throughout, like the commanders changing because that was going on for ages, was it not?
first book into the second, I think. I can't remember if it was the study of fire or the study of magic for the quote. It was like something along the lines of after they'd finished playing or they were having their drinks, and the commander had said something about was it the commander had said something about Valek, and he'd made a comment that he wouldn't go for her or something. I can't remember. There was something. I'm going to be really annoyed now because I should have written it down. I don't know
No,
what
there's a
happened.
bit where Valek turns up at the commander's door, and the commander opens the door, and he's in his jammies, and Valek's like, "You're in pajamas," and he's like, "Very astute." So I'm just going to bed. What the fuck else do you think I'm doing? I love seeing Ambrose as well, though, and Signe. Like, I loved seeing Ambrose's personality more. Because I think one of the things that Ambrose needs Valak for is to be in that grey space. Because it's almost like even with things like the arrest warrant, the death warrant for Yelena, he specifically has that conversation with Valak where he's like, "What would you do if I handed it to you?" He's like, "I'd carry it out, but it'd be the last thing I'd do for you." He's like, "Well, maybe it'll take me a while to find somebody that can carry out the orders, and also they're only applicable if she's an Ixia." Like he looks to Valak to be his bend because he can't like like we know the commander doesn't bend the rules, he sticks to the code by hook or by crook because he needs to be that example, but he relies on Valak to be the one that bends the rules a little bit to make things realistically fair.
Yeah. I do. Wow, sorry, I should not have opened Instagram. Um, I'm looking for this, but I should just go straight to Tasha because we got distracted on the way there.
She almost blends in with the couch.
I know. I don't know if she's posted a quote. Hmm. Why can I not find it? It was just basically a nod to the two of them being gay, and I loved it, and I now can't find it, and I'm sad.
With who?
Valak and the commander. I can't remember which book it's in.
It's yeah, something I remember what you're talking about now. I had a giggle at that.
My brain is not working. I mean, does it ever? Also, you really cannot convince me that Ari and Janko aren't together.
Thank you. I've only been beating this dead horse for the 9 books.
Yeah, I know, but I've been reading it for longer and I've been on that horse for longer. But every time it's like, my partner, or, oh, you could have two separate suites. No, we'll just have one. Like, no.
Could you imagine Ari being introduced to Janko's mum though? Because his mum sounds like a riot. It's like the one thing that Janko fears his mother. Janko's family dynamic gives like cheaper by the dozen.
Yeah. I love that movie. The Herd can be like the opposing family and cheaper by the dozen too.
Don't know if I've seen that.
It's funny. It's like two big families on like a sports holiday type thing. What did you think about the end where we find out that it was actually the commander that hid the soul prisons?
On the one hand, for me, it didn't particularly make sense because Valak knew where they were.
Or at least where one of them was. I wonder if we
Because
had
obviously
to
the
find
goal
out from the
and get
commander
it.
where they were before getting them. Maybe they
Hmm?
just tried to delay the inevitable.
What do you mean?
Or like he tried to at least add a step in the way so if he got kidnapped, he wouldn't know the
Hmm.
answer. But if they needed to find it for security, he could just ask.
He did say, like, under any circumstances, do not tell me.
Yeah, but yet we know that they went and got them. So, but then to be fair, Yelena and Opal were in a pretty shit situation. So
And
this
by
is
that
why
point,
Valek
well,
said, "Don't tell me," because
actually,
Yelena will be used against me.
yeah. But by that point, where he does tell them where they are, he is under the influence of Owen Moon.
Yeah,
So, and
it would
he
make sense that
wants.
he told them. Yeah, because he wants them.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's an interesting thing. I hadn't thought of that when I read it.
These are plot points where if we brought it up to Maria, she'd be like, yep, totally planned that.
Totally. Yep.
Totally planned. Yep. That was entirely my intention.
Um, I have officially, oh, sorry, read all of Maria's books now.
You have.
Yep. The
I was going
Study
to say,
of
because I've
Fire.
not read the.
Mm?
I was going to say, because I've not read the other genre ones.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Three,
The non.
three
I have
trilogy,
to say, like,
a
can't
duology.
write in anything else outside the work. It's like when Cassie Clare decided to write something that wasn't Shadowhunters, and I was like, no, how dare.
To be fair, some of Maria's other trilogies are some of my absolute favorites. I haven't read the Inside Out, Outside In duo in a long time. I read it way back before the Glass trilogy was out. Stormwatcher is her nod to when she was younger. She worked in a kennel. And it's also got her strongest link to meteorology, which she did at uni. There's a series about healers. There's a series about archaeology in space, which is cool.
Trilogy in space.
Yeah, it's about basically somebody at some point put the big um terracotta army statues like across space.
Hmm.
And it's actually really cool. It's very clever the way it's done. Do not have that in my brain. I will read it though.
After doing the Valek Chronicles, she's like, I'm never going back to a book I've written ever again.
Probably not. Um, she did say she was in the middle of writing something new though when she was here in September, so that'll be exciting.
It's on the one hand, I really want another book from this world. Like I want more, but at the same time, I really don't.
I think if anything else comes out, it'll be the next generation. Fisk,
Yeah.
Rima, Tegan, etc. Like after the end of After Study from the Chronicles.
Yeah.
Like after that.
I did really like I love Valek's voice though. Like I love the way she writes Valek. I don't know if it's because he's a more mature character than Yelena. Like I don't know if it's like a book thing in general, because like a lot of the time you find things are written from characters who I think now we're pushing up into like early 30s. Like the book I'm reading now has characters who are in their early 30s, but you don't really see characters because Valek's what he's 40 or something.
33. Yeah, it's 35. Because he literally made a comment about how he was 35 and he felt it. And I was like, oh, I've just turned 35. I feel that. It's like, oh. Like, thanks, Maria.
And
Hit me where it hurts.
like you see, like I feel like it's funny because it's like she knows him so well that it's so easy to write. Like I can totally see things that he does throughout this trilogy, how they hark back to things he's done previously, like to situations he's been in, to the trauma that he suffered, to the training that he did, to, you know, all of that sort of thing. And I like that he's a character who, although he is the commander's right hand man, he doesn't become a disciple to him. Like he's not just like whatever the commander says is correct. He's a true friend to him in that way because when the commander decides something, everybody else is like, yes, sir. And Valek's like,
Really?
sure. Are we
Do you
sure about
have
that?
to? How can I help this go better without directly telling him to fuck off?
It's like, tell me you're not going to do that. And Valek's like, I'm not going to do that. And the commander's just like, just don't let me find out about it.
Such a good theory, though. I won't have to like kill you if I don't know about it.
I think a novella, like, yeah, another short story collection would be good.
Yeah, I think it would be a good way to like dip into all of the different characters without having to have like something massive happen. It's like to get all of these characters back in the same thing. I know that they're all kind of like family now, so it could just be like somebody's birthday or a wedding or something, but without having to have like something major. Like if you did a short story, you could see like Opal and Devlin with the kids, or you could see Rima and Fist together, or you know, Mara working at the kiln, you know, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you both. Over it all, who is your favorite character if you could only pick one?
Valek. I've always really liked Valek.
Fair.
And I mean
That
also
is
the
a good.
housekeeper, but like Valek overall.
Yeah,
Obviously I love Ari
I
and
love the
Janko, but
second.
like hmm?
I love the second housekeeper over Marg.
Oh god, yeah. I did not like
Um,
Mark.
no,
I love how
neither.
the commander's like, but she's been with us forever, and Valek's like, your point is?
Don't care. Do not care. Um, I think mine is Janko. I've always had a soft spot for Janko.
I do love Janko, but he can actually be quite irritating. Like, if he was to stop being so annoying sometimes.
A child.
Yeah.
But then he is a lot younger. Because I think Ari is about 5 years younger than Valak, and then your
I think
favorite
I would just
animal.
like, I mean, obviously it's Kiki.
Good answer. I love that Vicky got there before me without Kiki and then Rima. I do love Rima. I
Like,
love Rima and
I love the
Tegan.
fact that it's just when that's why I hated there was a section of I think it was through Opal's books and then the two last books when Yelena couldn't talk to Kiki. I was fuming. I was absolutely of all the things to cut off Kiki like that was just fucking rude. Rude. And like when Valak can then talk to her and he's like tells Onyx. Is it Onyx the horse is called?
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. He's like talking to Onyx and Kiki's like silly human. Onyx doesn't speak human. And he's like, oh, can you tell him? Well, of course, Kiki speaks horse. Like, that's not stupid, but the fact that he can't understand English is stupid. Like, I love Kiki. Like, I want to see just like a short story of the horses in a pasture.
Yeah, just
Like,
having a
they're just funny.
conversation about all the different
Yeah,
people and the stupid shit they've got up to. Or
yeah.
how
It's
stupid they
like,
are that they didn't hear something or they didn't smell something or something.
and like I love the bit as well when um Valek is like he goes to Kiki and he's like, I need your help to rescue Yelena. He's like, are you in? And she like flips open the gate and he's like, Phil, let's go.
Yeah.
It's like, yes.
And I think was it not something like she bolted through the door and then it was like, well, she would rather not, where she would normally do like this nice slow circadious route, she was out of the keep in like 2 minutes. It was like, okay, let's go. I also love the fact that whenever they get on the sand seeds, they literally just go, right, we're going here, and they just leave them to it because they know that they're so fucking smart that they can get them wherever they're going. And they're
And
like, you can get me there fastest.
I
Okay.
don't even remember what it is that happens, but like he goes back to he gets them back to the stables and he's like, peppermints for the horses. He's like, these horses get treats whenever they want them.
Look, peppermint, you both mentioned it at the same time. I love it. Oh, it's so funny. So cute. I love them all so much.
I really
Are
like Valek.
you?
He is like such a softie at
He
heart.
is. He doesn't like anybody to know it, but he definitely is.
But sometimes he kind of wishes that people would know it.
Yeah.
I
Sometimes.
felt again like one of the ones that made me a bit sad was when he met Opal's parents. When he went to Opal's house with Leaf. And they were
Yeah.
like, "Oh, Leaf, sweetheart, you're here." Blah, blah. And then he's like, "This is Valek," and they're like,
It's like,
"He's like, hi."
cat hisses. Um, are you glad that you have come on this rather long journey with me?
Yeah.
I can't believe we're at the end.
Eh?
I
I
can't believe
know.
we're at the end. I can't believe that's been 13 books.
I know. It's like simultaneously, it's like a weight's lifted, but at the same time, I'm so sad.
And you've met Maria now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I know. How was that like 8 months ago?
Really? God.
September, October, November, December, January, February, March. Yeah.
What is time
April,
this year?
like literally the start of April to the start of September to the end of April as well. So like properly 8 months.
Time has gone so fast this year.
I don't know how we're in May tomorrow.
Yeah, so what?
It's gonna be May. You can tell the millennials. No, millennials.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always get confused with what generation I'm supposed to be.
Hilariously, Kay hates it when I do that, but I do it for like a lot of. Normally, by this point, I would have been doing it for like a week. So.
Vicky hasn't answered, so I'm assuming she obviously hated reading every single book with us.
Do you know what? Study of Magic, it's so right because fire really is the best. Like, you get all the action, you get, that's when he meets Fisk, that's when they go, like, they deal with the fire
Oh, seeing the whole like what
conquerors
happened
and.
while she was stuck in the fire. Like I know I mentioned about Ari staying at the healing, the keep, etc. But like actually seeing the end of the fight and experiencing like that 3 month period and actually having to go get Opal and speaking to the family and being like, yeah, we need her to come like all the way up here. Like seeing all of that in that last few chapters was just my heart died all over again because it was bad enough reading it from Yelena's point of view.
It's like when they're But when everybody's like, I think it's time to put the fire out, and he's like, put the fire out and see what happens. Try it.
Absolutely fucking
Try
up.
and get past me. Magician or no magician, bring an army. See
You
what happens.
ain't putting that out.
I was upset about Moon Man all over again.
Yes. Worst experience ever. Would not recommend. I loved it.
Moon Man is the thing that really that really got to me. I hated the fact that Moon Man died, and to relive it all over again was just
Painful.
so unfair.
So mean. Well, I loved it. I'm still so proud I actually made it to the end because you know what I'm like with series. I am proud of you. Like, I know occasionally it meant me and Andy had to yell at you to actually read your fucking book, but that's a normal thing regardless of what book you're reading because we do it all and I do it. But I'm very proud that you made it with us. Like, we all, for every live, managed to read it in time. Okay, some of our lives ended up getting shifted because life happens. But it's life, it's reading. Like, it's not meant to make you more stressed when shit's already hitting the fan. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I am very, very proud that we all got to the end.
Yeah.
And I love doing it with you, Andy. Thank you very much for joining me.
It was a bit, I think it got a bit stressful at the start, but once we kind of got into the rhythm of it, it was fine. I hate having to arrange lives and things like that. I hardly arrange anything.
Yeah. And then, like, you want to read the book, but because you've got a pressure to read the book, you don't want to read the book. But you know, you have to read the book because you have to go talk about the book.
Mm-hmm.
But you just think, oh, but then if I read it too early, I won't remember about the book, as with the study of magic and the study of poisons here. And then we were like, or at least I was definitely like, right, come on, read it. Like, you'll be fine, you'll remember stuff, and then I wouldn't remember stuff. Or the opposite, I'd then be finishing it on the day of life.
Yeah. Oh,
Do you know this is going to be the first time in like 2.5 years, I think, that I don't have a read along planned. Because I went straight from doing Schwab into Mass Along and they overlapped, into this and they overlapped. And I did a few by the Angelon books because I read The Chains and I read The Empires with Christophalon. Bloody crazy. So it's 2 full author backlists, 2 trilogies, and 13 books of a world of Maria's. Maybe it's 3 years.
I like 2 and a bit at least. Schwobbling feels like it was ages ago.
9, 10, 11, 12.
I'm very warm now.
So I did 15 for one, 13 for another, and 16 for the other. I love this. You're going to do His Dark Materials and Illuminae and Aragorn. I know, but they're just one on, like us. There's no live show for them. But I do really want to reread His Dark Materials before I then go on to the Book of Dust. Now that Philip has said that he's actually got it fucking set up. Yeah, I reread Little Thieves. I'm currently rereading Legendborn to get to Oathbound. I want to reread Aragon this year. I want to reread Illuminae. I want to reread His Dark Materials. And I have 300 plus books on my TBR, you know. It's fine, right? Everything's fine?
That's totally fine.
Hmm?
Totally fine. Everything's totally fine. Whereas I'm running out of books and I feel like I'm losing my momentum. Not even my momentum, just my reading, whatever.
You'll just have to start reading KU and library books instead.
Well, that's the thing. I've now got a Kindle, so I can now read. Like, this will motivate me to read KU books because I'm
Yeah.
paying for a KU subscription. I might as well. But the thing is, I think my thing is as well. Like, I'm scared now of buying books and not liking them, and then having to unhaul them, and it's like I don't know what I like anymore. Nothing's popping out at me. There's a lot of fantasy being like published and advertised and talked about right now, and romantasy and stuff like that, and I'm just I know I'm wearing a Fourth Wing t-shirt, but like it's different. That's not like fantasy reader fantasy.
I totally thought she was about to jump into that bag. She did not, but it was close. Maybe for a little bit you just need to read some books that are on KU, and then if you like them, buy them until you figure out where you want to sit genre-wise again.
Yeah.
It's definitely not a bad thing figuring out if you like books before buying them. But I just buy because they're pretty, unfortunately. Pardon me. It also doesn't help that I like fantasy, though. I feel like we've gone off topic. Did you have anything else to say? Anything you want to make comments on the last 13 books? Any standing things? Any favorite scenes or pairings or anything?
No, I mean, I'm glad she did the Valek Chronicles. I think they've been my favourite.
Eat food.
I will after the live. Just getting told off for not eating food yet.
I think Valek Chronicles have been my favourite. But yeah, it would also be nice to have like a short story collection that followed, that like dipped in again to other characters that we've not seen in a while. So, I can never remember her name. So,
Zatora?
Zatora and Cade.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like we definitely see more of Iris and Bane than we do of Zatora for obvious reasons as the books go further in.
Yeah. But
But
Zatora's so young as well. Like she's ages with the younger group of. I want to know if Yelena will ever become a master magician because she has like master magician powers. Like she is, by all intents and purposes, a master magician. She just
Yeah.
doesn't hold office.
yeah, I think she decided that she wanted to be the liaison and that was more
Mm-hmm.
important for
As she
her.
gets older, like maybe to like
Maybe if
maybe
there's
she'll
a
get more base.
shortage or if there's a issue. I do love
We're
though.
going to be shocked though at something that's happened while reading this trilogy.
What?
I think I'm starting to like Leaf.
Oh my god, Vicky! Holy shit! Hear that? Wow.
I liked him a lot more in this trilogy.
I
Than,
think it's that sibling thing as well. Like, Yelena and him just don't have a good foothold to start rebuilding a conversation and rebuilding anything. Where at least in this one, when Yelena's away, and obviously him and Leaf go and get they go and get Mara and Opal for helping with the what I call the soul prisons, so that they can
because that's what I'm saying. Like when Valek went to Opal's house and like Opal's family reacted the way they did, or her mum and dad really reacted the way they did to Valek, Leaf was like, "No, he's fine. Like I can vouch for him,"
He's my
which I
brother.
don't think Leaf would have done before. Like he literally betrayed Yelena so many times.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they have the best relationship or a good relationship, but I am glad that they got over it and it got better. And I am glad that there was a bit in Valek's POV right at the end when everybody had come for, I think it was Moonman's funeral, maybe, which obviously we had never seen before. And like he was saying, like listing off who'd come to be there, and he was like, and two people, I think they're Yelena's parents. And I was like, oh damn, of course you haven't met them at this point. I was like, oh, I was like, okay, that's fun, that's incoming. But I do love, I think it's in one of the Glass books, maybe, I think it is, where they've got the wedding, and it's like Opal's mum and Leaf's mum are both together and are just fussing. It's still one of my favorite like scenes. But I do love Valek as well, when you know that he helps out and he's like, just wear that color. Like you'll look good in that color.
I love Valek. Yeah, I think Valek's definitely my favorite character. I like his morality. I think that's the thing. I like being inside his head because I like the way he thinks. I like his morality. He's the kind of character I prefer. He's not afraid to kill people if they need killed. I was totally reliving that whole Cahill stab it. I was like, just get him, go get him, go. Like
See, when it was like the end of this is going to end with me killing, I was like, oh, Valek. I was like, you don't kill him, boy. Like, you may think you're gonna, but you don't.
like he's so because obviously he's got the side of him where he's rescuing magicians who technically he should be killing, but he'll
Yep.
still take out people. And then the way he plays with Star and the way like how kind and how um proud he is of his core, like he treats them better than any. I mean, we see glimpses of it, like when the soldier comes from one of the other military districts and she's clearly been abused.
Yeah.
So he goes and finds out what's happening and brings the general to task. Like you can tell that he's a very dynamic character, and that is one of the things that I love because Yelena falls into that trap, and of course, is a product of its time, but she falls into that female young adult main character who doesn't want to kill anybody, doesn't want to get their hands dirty, wants to see the good in everybody, and it comes back and bites everybody on the ass. Whereas Valak is like, if I had just killed them, this wouldn't have been a problem. But also, if you treat my children like shit, I will end you. And also, don't tell Janko I'm proud of him because
Yeah.
his head will get too inflated. Like his character is just so like because even the bit that made me think about that is I think this is actually in Magic, where he's with the woman who wants to get her daughter back,
Yes.
but actually her daughter doesn't want to be with her, and he's like, "Yeah, we had a deal, but this was not part of it. The deal was we would get her back because she was supposed to be with you, not that you wanted to kidnap her and she doesn't want to be with you. That's a whole different thing. Like he isn't like, well, I've said I will do this, so I'll do it. He's like,
Yeah.
no, the parameters have changed. I'm not traumatizing that child. You will have to deal with it, and I will deal with you."
Yeah. Agreed. I love him
Like
so
it
much.
just, yeah, I think he's a great character. That's like I love those scenes where like there's no need for that. There's no point in that. We don't need that to explain anything that happened during Yelena's books. It's just little tidbits of Valek being Valek.
And him being awesome.
Yeah. I do. I love the way he treats his core. I love what he does, like when he switches out the prisoners for the hangings.
Yes.
Like
And
Mm.
I think one of my favorite things about the study of poison is actually the very first chapter, where he already knows information about Yelena, but from Yelena's POV, he knows nothing. And like she is actually the next to be hung, but she isn't. Like he's been dawdling to try and save her for ages because he wanted to get to the bottom of whatever was going on. And I just love it. But also one of the things in the study of fire, you were saying with the core, I love that in the tavern that he always meets Ari and Janko and his guys in, the guy is literally like, you pay what you can, like you get hot food from me. And the boys are both like, look, we would put down more, but it would look really awkward if we had more money to put down. So he puts down like 3 times as much just so that it evens out. And he's like, I appreciate what you're doing here. Like, and I love that he found like he looked at him and is like, I would call it this for you. And it's like, I think it was something like blood warm or something, like heat up because he'd been frozen.
All warmer.
Yeah. I was like, oh.
He's like, I love that. Even there's a point as well where I think it's in the other books where Porter is confronted with the fact that Valek knows that he has magic, because Valek doesn't find out about one tricks until I think Opal's books, or maybe slightly before, but it's later on that he finds out that here that people can have just one random innate ability. And when Porter's faced with it's not in these books, it's in one of the other ones, but it's just a thing about Valek. Like he says to Porter, he's like, "Did you really think that I didn't know what was going on? How do you think you got across the border so easily?" And Porter's like, "You were helping the whole time," and he's like, "Anna." Obviously, I was helping the whole time.
Yeah, you see in the study of fire because he helps him get the kid that was flaming out over the border. Like he literally goes after them and makes sure they get through. And I just love it. I love that on top of himself trying to save kids, he's helping other people silently. Like he doesn't do it for the recognition. Hell, he would have a lot more issues if he was doing it for the recognition. Like
thinking back to how his mum treated him, that just hurts me even more. Because she knew, like she there's a bit funny conversation that he has with Elena where like she's like, maybe the person's a magician, and he's like, nah, I would know about it if they were a magician. I would sense the magic. And she's like, well, you didn't sense it when I was giving off magic. And he's like,
point. He also didn't sense that he had magic
because it was camping down. But I think Valek is such a well-written character. Like he is such a great character. Like the facets of him are he's so dynamic.
I love him. I like Yelena, but she's not my favorite character out of the whole series. Like Opal was my favorite character for a long time. Like out of the female cast. But yeah, I think Rima, which is hilariously her daughter, is probably one of my favorites.
I really like Zatoria, even if I can't remember her name. Because like the amount of times that people are like, "But you're a master magician," and she's like, "Yeah, but I'm also like 12. Leave me alone."
I think she's 16. I think she's like 16 or 17 to be fair, but yeah. Like she's basically the equivalent of Tegan, because Tegan by the end of it is a master magician. And he's nowhere near old enough to actually be mature enough to call the shots.
Like everybody looks to Zatoria and she's like, nope, ask an adult, you're adult, because I'm not.
We need an adult, you're adult.
Yeah.
I love that.
I am an adult.
We need an adult, you're adult.
I'm so sad about Bane. Bane and Moonman, like, hope there's an afterlife. I know their souls go into the blanket. I really hope there's an afterlife, because there's an afterlife in the fire world.
Yeah, no, they said that
and there's an afterlife in the shadow world.
Said that there's 4 different worlds. So our world, the shadow world, the
the fire
firewall,
world.
the blanket, which is basically heaven. Like their
Yeah.
souls go, but
And
then they're happy.
I think Bane and Moonman would be
they'll have amazing conversations.
besties.
Yeah. And they'll be watching Yelena and rolling their eyes at her antics and cheering all the young kids on.
Do you know one thing I loved about this one more than the other, which doesn't make any sense when I'm going to say it, but for some reason it just hit different? Yelena's bat.
Yeah.
Janka's just like, there's a thing on you, and Valek's like, it's a bat. See, the thing is, when I saw the bat in the original books, right? When I saw the bat, it was like fucking this size. Like it was huge. It was like a flying fox or something. Whereas in this one, I'm like, all right, so it's this size.
Yeah, it's tiny. It's just
It's hanging
quietly
off her hood.
back of her
So I
hood.
was like, how is it hanging off her hood? She must be like.
That's why Siobhan crocheted me a bat. So they could sit with my Yelena books.
I like the bat. Like, there was, yeah.
Because that's
I
what
just love
proves
that.
she's a
I love
master
the
magician.
character.
That's one of the things that proves she's a master magician. Because Iris has her hawk, she has her bat.
Bane had. What did Bane have?
Oh my gosh, my brain's gone dead.
Rose had some kind of cat, didn't she? Because it goes along with the masks they would wear as well. Because Iris has the Hawkeye mask.
Yeah.
The Hawk mask. So, oh my god, the scene with my love at the whiskey, at the brandy drinking thing. From Valek's point of view, where he literally just like slides her behind the curtain, like, we're all good, nothing happened. Here's this bottle. It's totally the bottle she just drank from. And nobody's gonna know.
How are they going to know?
Never know.
Aw.
And then he spent the whole time worrying. Do you know who I want to see more of as well? The tailor. The seamstress.
Delana.
Like, he goes back with stuff and she's like, did you rip this again? And he's like, it's not my fault.
I love that
it's the way
Tegan has a fire lion. Tegan has a fire lion. And he becomes first magician by the time he's 23.
When one of them, when Bane died, did that mean Zatoria immediately moved up to first magician?
Yeah, until somebody else tested with a higher level of power.
I wonder where Yelena would be.
Not very high, because she doesn't have many tricks. It's just her tricks are actually amazing. It's not like she has multiple things like Tegan.
She's extremely powerful, though.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Yelena would be more likely to be a master magician, like in the political sense, if she was like fourth magician, than like if she was first magician, because she would be like, I am not taking that responsibility. But oh my, when Valek meets Fisk, and he thinks that Fisk will like betray Yelena, and Fisk is like, I beg your pardon.
I would never.
Like, I love Fisk so much. Like, even, oh my god, a short story that just like, a short story collection of just years of the kids, like Fisk and his guild growing.
Yeah.
I love Fisk. Fisk is, Fisk is one of my favourite characters.
He's been one of our favourites since the start.
Yeah, I love Fisk, and I love the way that Valek treats. Even though he's suspicious of it, obviously he's going to be suspicious of Fisk when he first meets him.
Yeah.
But like, the minute he realizes he can trust him, he just has like, even though Fisk is like, what, 10 or something?
Yeah.
When he starts the game. He just has this immediate respect for him, and he always, throughout the rest of the books, has so much respect for Fisk and for the guild, and when people are like, "Are you really going to trust kids to this?" Valec's like, "Hold my beer, hold my poison." I am
so much. Like, they'd have been screwed without them later on.
I'd also like to see exactly what happened, like POV of Janko while he was homeless, and find out what happened to the homeless people afterwards. Because I feel like Yelena and the like after the last book, not after the after the I forget what the last trilogy's called. Dawn,
Study. It's literally
Night,
just
and
Dawn, Shadow, Night.
Dawn, Shadow, Night.
Shadow, Dawn, Night.
After those, I genuinely think that big changes would have been made in Citya, like because the people that were left in charge are people who do want to look after the people. Truly, like there's a lot less ego in the way.
And with Tegan being first magician, he's been homeless. He's been on the streets. He's literally been there. Like, he's had to look after his sister and done things that no kid that age should have to do. And the fact that Fisk is in charge of their security, like Tegan and Fisk and Rima as a trio, and considering we know from after study that we think there's like inclinings for like Rima and Fisk to get together because of how cute they are and like how cute they both think each other is, and it's like
Didn't in one of the second study trilogy, I'm sure Rima looks Fisk dead in the face and is like, "I'm going to marry you," and she's a child, and Fisk is like, cool.
So it's Yelena's wedding.
Yeah.
And he's like, absolutely not, what the fuck? And then in after study, he's now like, Tegan is 23 in after study, so Rima must be like 19 and she's finished at the keep and shit. And he comes back and he's like, what? Who, what? Hello, what? Hi.
Women. What's going on?
What the fuck? And I remember him thinking, because it's literally like, you don't know what she says originally, because Fisk walks her down the aisle and she whispers to him at the wedding, and then in the end you find out from Fisk's POV that that's what she told him, that she was marry him someday. And I just think it's so cute. I'm so here for it.
I think that's to do with Rima's power. Like, she has some sort of
psychic thing. Yep.
Yeah.
Because
remember with the gift, and she's like, "There's something wrong with that gift. Do not open it."
Yeah. And they literally just instantly believed her and called shit in and got it sorted. And it was done. And that was it. Like, why would you not trust your kids? Especially if they've got magic powers.
I mean, they do trust her, but she doesn't go to... I mean, she goes to... Is it Iris? She goes to her Zatoria. And she's like, "Look, you have to believe..." She's running up to this whole thing of like, "You need to believe me. I know I'm just a kid." They did it, and they're like, well, I believe you.
Yeah.
Like, why would you lie? And she's like, "Oh, okay."
New. Okay. Hi.
Sure.
I love it so much.
The characters in this they just continue to get better. And I think part of it is Yelena starting off so young. I think Maria does such a good job of writing the arc of maturity through her characters. Like, Maria understands the difference between Yelena and Valek based on their ages, their life experiences, like you're saying with Ari and Janko, the age difference with Rima and Tegan, and like they are more mature than they should be at that age because of what they've gone through. But when you see like Opal's little brother at that age, totally different kid.
Yeah.
There's no two characters in that series, and there's a lot of characters in the series. There's no two characters that feel the same.
Yeah, I genuinely believe that her being in her 50s, like she was in her 40s when she started writing them, but like being in her 50s, being a mum, being a teacher, and being a professor, like she's now teaching college students. Have I gone? Am I back?
Have you frozen or have I frozen? I think you've frozen.
Oh, am I back?
You back.
Cool. I literally was like, no,
You're
don't do
like,
this to me. We're almost
that's
finished.
enough.
Yeah, I do genuinely. How much of that did you get? What did I cut out on?
She's a professor teaching college students.
Yeah, so I do genuinely believe, because she's seen not only how her own kids have grown up, but also like being in PTAs and seeing like how like other students the same age are either less or more mature based on like home situation and stuff, and then seeing her like older students and the same. Like, I do genuinely believe that because she's older, like a lot of writers, and I'm not saying they're better or worse, write when they're younger. And because of that, you don't know that whole arc of life, if that makes sense. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't have any issues with reading from authors who are younger. I couldn't tell you very many authors' ages, to be fair. But I think in this case, with writing such a wide range of characters with such a wide age range, it's definitely helped. I think she may have
I just
another
want to know
answer.
where she came up with, like, what the inspiration was for a lot of these characters, because, like,
I know the inspiration for the taster came from the fact that Rodney worked for the chocolate company.
oh
And
yeah,
then
I was watching something totally unrelated and discovered that Krillo is very similar, like that's what they call it in the study series, is actually very similar to an indigenous name for the chocolate plant, like the plant where you get the cocoa
wonder that's
seeds
where
to
she
make
did.
chocolate. And I was like, she done her research. Like obviously she's done her research, but like at that point I didn't know.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that either. But yeah, she always says in your stories, don't pick the main person, so like the commander, because you'll never be able to go too far from the story. Like, they won't have as much to write about. Hence the food taster for the commander.
Valek, obviously, because he just dots all over the place.
Yeah, pretty much. He goes where he wants to. He doesn't really follow rules. I can't believe we're at the end. I know I've said it already, but I really don't know how we've passed it. Like, it feels like yesterday we were sitting upstairs in your house filming.
So yeah.
Crazy.
And it did not go how we thought it was going to go at all.
No. But that's okay. The three of us read them all. Becca read most of them. And Hattie read them. Lisa started and fell away by the wayside because life. Emma, I think, started them, fell away by the wayside because life. But that's okay. As long as I'm really glad you both enjoyed it though, because I would have hated if you'd absolutely detested this and then felt you had to keep going.
No, I definitely got better. Like it was you could tell, like going back, it was a product of its time. But as you get further, you can see the maturity of the writing and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm just impressed I've actually reread it now, because I'd never reread it. And I read it for the first time in 2008. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Do we have any further comments we want to make before my internet starts playing up again? No.
Are you okay? You're just staring at me? Sorry.
I said, do you have any further comments you want to make before my internet plays up again?
No, I think I'm.
We done?
Yeah.
Just give Vicky a little bit more time to see if she wants to type anything else.
He was just complaining because he was meant to be fed an hour ago.
Uh-oh. Richie came down and literally told me off for not having had food yet, but I just didn't eat before we did the live, so I'm going to go get food. And then I need to try and finish my April TBR before bedtime.
Same.
Nah,
I need to finish Scotch on the Rocks. According to my Kindle, I am 51% through. No, that's a lie. 71% through.
That's a lot better.
Yeah, I don't know where I was getting those numbers from. Just
a little bit. Vicky has not replied, so I'm going to assume they've gone to get tea or something, or they can't type at the minute. But thank you to Vicky, especially for joining us on every live, for putting up with us yelling at them to read the book, which we both did on numerous occasions. And thank you massively to Andy for making all of the thumbnails, because my artistic skills are very lacking, and for joining me on this crazy year-long adventure.
thanks for making me do this. I would not have read any of it if it wasn't for you wanting to do this.
And you now own how many copies of the first trilogy? 2?
2. Just 2.
They're very new. They're very pretty copies, though, the new editions. Like, they are so pretty.
They are so pretty. Now I just need you. I think. I mean, obviously we can talk about this later, but jumping off of this series, I need you to read Trudy Canavan's Age of the Five, because I think you will love it.
What Trudy book is it that I have? Oh, it's up there. Ugh, it's literally behind my books. I've got a white book. That's really not helpful with her books, because I know they're all like white or black. Hold on.
It'll probably be the Magician books you've got, but the Age of the Five I love, and I think you'll love it. And the magic is a similar-ish concept. That's what reminded me of it.
I have. Where are you? The Magician's Guild?
Yeah, I figured that's what you would have. That's our popular series. The Age of the Five is a totally, like, nobody, I've never met anybody else who's read it.
I got gifted it by Michelle for my Christmas. It wasn't even me that picked it. But yes, we can talk about that once I finish Percy Jackson. Let me catch up with that series
Another
first.
thing I'm making you read.
I know. I'm almost there, though. I have one last Apollo book, and then you ship.
The Sun and the Star, and then the new 2 Percy ones, and then the new Sun. Is it the next one? I can't remember if the next one's Sun and the Star, book 2, or if it's the third in the Percy ones. It's called The Court of the Dead. So
It's a Sun and the Star one. I think it's a Nico D'Angelo one, if I remember right, because I've got it pre-ordered. But yeah, I'm almost caught up with that. So once we catch up with them, I can then replace that with something else. Oh,
it is a Nico one.
Sorry, I was busy. Thanks for holding me accountable and making me read this. You're so welcome. But on that, while me and Andy fall down a hole of what we're going to buddy read next, I'm going to say bye and end it here, because that's almost exactly an hour and a half. It's like 20 seconds off the hour and a half, which is somewhat satisfying, but I don't think I can talk shit for another 45 seconds.
You absolutely could.
I so could.
That would end up in another half an hour.
Yeah, which is why we don't do this, because you either get short and sweet and no babble, or you get all the babble and you don't get rid of me.
Yeah.
But on that note, thank you for coming. Thank you to both of you, and I will speak to you in about 2 seconds. Bye.